You didn't see it coming. One day everything was fine, and the next, something got cut away. A relationship ended. A job disappeared. A dream you'd been building for years got quietly stripped from your hands. And in the silence afterward, one question kept circling back. What did I do to deserve this? You've run through the list. Maybe you weren't faithful enough. Maybe you complained too much, prayed too little, trusted too shakily. You've turned the pain into evidence, proof that God is disappointed in you. Maybe even punishing you for something you can't quite name. What if the cutting wasn't punishment at all? What if it was the most loving thing that's ever happened to you? By the end of this video, you're going to see John 15:2, the way it was actually meant to be understood. And it's going to change how you interpret every painful season you've ever lived through. Here's an image to hold on to. Picture a vineyard in early spring. A gardener walks the rows with shears in hand, cutting back healthy-looking branches, not the dead ones, the living ones. Anyone watching from a distance would think he was destroying the vine. He's not. He's the only one in the field who actually understands what that branch is capable of becoming. Hold that image. We'll come back to it. Now let's set the scene. John 15 is Jesus' final extended teaching before the cross, spoken in an upper room. Hours before betrayal, hours before the garden, hours before everything the disciples loved about their normal lives got stripped away. He doesn't open with comfort. He opens with agriculture. I am the vine, you are the branches, and then, almost immediately, the line that unsettles everyone who reads it closely. Every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful, not the unfruitful branches, the fruitful ones, the ones already doing well. That distinction matters more than you think. And to understand why, you need to meet two people. The first is the striver. The striver interprets every loss as a verdict. When the branch gets cut, he assumes he failed some invisible test. So he doubles down, works harder, performs more, tries to earn back what he thinks he lost. He treats the gardener like a judge handing down a sentence, and pruning like punishment for a crime he's still trying to identify. The second is the abider. The abider feels the exact same cut, sometimes with the exact same grief. But underneath the pain, something is different. The abider doesn't ask, what did I do wrong? He asks, what is the gardener seeing that I can't see yet? He remembers that the vine's core promise was never comfort, it was connection. And pruning doesn't happen to branches that are disconnected. It happens to branches that are already attached, already alive, already producing something worth protecting. Same shears, same cut, to completely different postures underneath. Hear this clearly. Jesus never says pruning is painless. He doesn't soften the image to make it easier to swallow. A branch that gets cut back doesn't feel lighter in the moment. It feels smaller, exposed, undone. But look at the purpose clause attached to it. So that it will be even more fruitful, not so that it will be punished, not so that it will be humbled for humbling's sake, so that it will produce more of what it was made to produce. The striver hears cut and stops there, as if the sentence ends at the wound. But the abider keeps reading, because the promise was never that pruning would feel good. The promise was that a gardener who planted you himself would never cut you back without a harvest in mind. Think back to that vineyard in early spring. The branch didn't know, in the moment of cutting, what it would look like in September. It only knew the loss. The gardener knew the fruit. That's not a smaller love than the one you thought you were living under. It's a more patient one, not a punishment, not a rejection, a pruning, done by hands that already know what you're capable of becoming. So what do you actually do when you're the one being cut back? Not spiritually, practically. What changes on the Tuesday afternoon when the loss is still fresh and the wound hasn't closed yet? Here are 3 shifts, not techniques, postures. Shift 1, the interpretation shift. The flip, stop asking what did I do wrong, and start asking what is being made room for. The practice. The next time a loss cuts through something you were holding on to, write one sentence down, not an explanation, just an observation. Something was cut here. I don't yet know what it's making room for. You're not forcing meaning onto the pain. You're refusing to let the pain write its own false verdict against you. Shift 2, the timeline shift. The flip, Stop measuring the cut by how it feels in the moment it happens. The practice. Remember that no gardener judges a pruned branch in March, he judges it in the harvest. When you feel the urge to declare your life ruined or wasted right after a loss, pause and ask, am I judging this branch before the season is even over? Shift 3. The trust shift. The flip. Stop assuming the gardener's silence during the cutting means absence. The practice. Recall one time in your life when a painful ending eventually revealed a fruit you couldn't have grown any other way, a relationship, a skill, a strength, a peace. Let that memory testify quietly while the current cut is still healing. Here's what life looks like on the other side of this. You still feel loss. Pruning doesn't stop hurting just because you understand it, but something underneath softens. You stop treating every hard season as proof of failure or divine disappointment. You start recognizing the shape of a gardener's hand in the cutting, even when you can't yet see what it's shaping you into. The wound stays honest, but the story around the wound changes. It's no longer I was punished, it's I was being prepared. That's the whole difference between striving and abiding. The striver treats every cut as a sentence being carried out against him. The abider treats every cut as evidence he's still attached to a vine that has no interest in wasting him. It's not about avoiding the shears. It's about trusting the hand holding them. It's not about why the branch was cut. It's about who's still holding what remains. If this spoke to something you're carrying right now, comment below. Gardener, I trust the cut. Let that be your prayer today. Not because the pain makes sense yet, but because the hand doing the cutting has never once been careless. If this helped reframe a season you've been walking through, share it with someone who's convinced their hard season is punishment instead of preparation. And if you want more of Scripture, explained simply, the way it was actually meant to be understood, subscribe to Bible Revelation. This is what we do here.